Welcome to this tutorial. My name is Ian and I'm going to be taking you through the tutorial. So in this tutorial, we're going to be looking at a process called exploratory data analytics. So exploratory data analytics is about looking at the composition, the distribution, and the understanding of the data. So basically, we're going to ask ChatGPT to look at our data and see what it finds. So hopefully you're going to find this a topic that's really enjoyable. Please make sure though that you do have the paid version of the ChatGPT if you want to follow along with what we're doing. Also, please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all our latest content. But let's jump into the tutorial and let's see how we do this with ChatGPT. Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at exploratory data analysis. When it comes to exploratory data analysis, what we're looking for is we're actually looking to explore the dataset and to be able to find patterns or trends or outliers, things that give us further insight and intelligence about the data itself. So we're going to be looking to see how ChatGPT can help us with that. Okay, so we started off in ChatGPT, but I'm going to jump across to my Excel just to give you an insight into the data we're going to be using. Let's get Excel up on the screen. Okay, so there we go. We've got our Excel table of data we're going to be looking at. It's the same data that we're using for the other tutorials. So if you're following this series of tutorials, you'll start to get quite used to this data. So what you can see is we've got some sales data, some profit data, and we've got about different customers, customer states, regions, product category. So there's a lot of information in here. So basically, this is about 8,399 rows of data. So let's put this into ChatGPT and see how we do with that. Okay, so let's go back to ChatGPT. Now, the first step that I need to do here is I need to load this data into ChatGPT. So normally what I do is I just give it a command. So basically, firstly, I just use this insert. So I click on the insert button to insert the file. I select the file that I'm using. In this case, it's called my data sheet, data.xlsx. And then I give it a prompt. And we're going to just say load the table. And I just say to do something like list the fields, just so that I get it to do something with the data and I know that it's correctly uploaded that. So we'll just start with the prompt, load the table and list the fields. And what you'll see is it's busy analyzing here. Now, sometimes this can take quite a while. Sometimes it can be really quick. Sometimes I might actually speed up the video if it's taking a bit long. But you can see in this circumstance, it's already returning and it's giving me a list of those fields that we saw in the Excel file. So that's good news. We've now got it actually loaded into ChatGPT. So the next prompt I'm going to look at is we're just going to tell it to actually do some exploratory data analytics. So let's say perform exploratory, and we're going to say data analytics on the table of data. And again, this would be an instruction you might give to one of your colleagues or to one of your data analysis people and just say, please just perform an exploratory data analytics on the table of data. In this case, we're just going to be getting ChatGPT to do that for us. Now, as you can see, already it starts to come back with some results. It starts to tell me about the order quantity, what the ranges of values are, and it also gives me an average value there. Sales, it's also showing me the variance and the range that's within that, and the mean value. So we've got quite a large variance in the order sizes and types, profit as well. So basically, those are on numerical data analysis. Data integrity, it tells me there's no missing values, and then it's also got a categorical data analysis as well. So it's telling me there's 795 unique customer names, 25 customer states, regions, we've got 4 distinct regions, product category, 3 broad product categories. So as you can see, we've got quite a bit of information coming back already just from telling it to do an exploratory data analytics just on the whole table. But what if we wanted it now to do it on, say, just one field? So let's say, for example, we picked the sales field and we wanted a bit more information on that. So I'm going to tell it to do a perform exploratory data analytics on the sales field. So again, we'll leave it to do that analysis. Okay, so there we go. We're starting to get some output. We've got a couple of graphs that have been generated. And we're also having a look at the distribution of sales, outliers in sales. So I'm going to let it just finish typing out its analysis, and then we'll move up a little bit to have a look at what it's done. So basically, we move to the top. we can see now it's done a analysis of the distribution of sales. So it's basically saying the majority of sales happen in the lower values. So between 0 and you can sort of say maybe 50 or 100 or so, it's got the majority of the sales that happen. And as you can see, as you go out, then you get less and less actual sales. But we do have sales that go all the way to 80,000. May only be of one of them, but we do actually have sales. So basically, most of the sales are happening in this lower region here. And then you'll see that we got a box plot. So basically, a box plot is showing us the way that the values are distributed. And what it will do is it shows a line at the 25% of values, shows a line at the median of the values, and then this green area is actually 50% of the values. So basically, by the sort of this line over here, you've got 75% of your values. So 25% of your values would then be between here and the box plot. Now again, we can see there's a lot of outliers in this case. So we've got a lot of sales that are above this values, but there's only a few of those sales. So you may have one sale at all these different values, but there's quite a lot of them. So basically it's showing me again that the majority of the values that happen, the number of transactions, are at the lower area of the values. As you can see now, it's giving me an understanding of that. And you could get this to do further analysis if you wanted it to. So let's actually, just before we get on to further analysis, let's just have a further look. So you do get an explanation here. So it's telling you here the histogram shows that the majority of sales are clustered towards the lower end with a long tail towards the higher values. It indicates that while most sales are a relative low value, there are a few high value sales. And so you can go through this in your own time to see the explanation that is done in terms of that analysis that is looked at. So this is giving us an overview of our sales. Straight away, we can understand the vast majority of the sales values are in the lower amounts of values, but we do have values that are higher, but very few transactions for those. And one thing you could do is you could actually tell it to do an exploratory data of the sales field, but say in combination with another field. So we actually have 3 product categories, which isn't too many. So let's ask it to actually perform an exploratory data analytics on the sales field in combination with the product category field. Let's accept that. So again, it started off with a box plot, and we'll see as it's busy typing out its explanation of the box plot, but it's now broken it up into the 3 categories. So we can see that the range of distribution of the values are actually different by each of the product categories. And it's quite easy to see that in the box plot. But again, you get quite a bit of information that is now being typed out as we go further down. So let's just quickly go back to the box plot. So you can see with office supplies quite clearly a lot in the lower end of the values. Here you do have a bit of a wider range of values, but again, mostly in the lower values. And again, there you've got a wider range. So these do go up a little bit in terms of the higher values of sales. And again, though, if you go through this, you'll see that it gives you quite a nice overview of the actual statistics. And here it's actually telling us for furniture, average sales are such an amount with a high standard deviation of such amount, indicating large variability. So you do get quite a bit of information with this. So that's basically a nice part, just to be able to put data into ChatGPT, be able to press the button and just tell it to do an exploratory data analysis. Now, what you can do as well is you can actually go into a bit more detail. So let's say, for example, we wanted to download this image. So you wanted to use this in your presentation. So we could just say download the box plot image. And as I say, we could then save that image, use it in one of our presentations. And there we go. And now creates a link. We click on that link. It would allow us to download the image. The other thing you might want to do is that if you were presenting these values, is you may want to see what are these values in a table format. So let's tell it to create a table from the box plot image. And we'll just say displaying the data. So there we go. It's going to tell us that it's going to create a table. It's going to summarize the key statistics of the sales distribution by the product categories. And the good news is straight away, we're starting to get our table. It shows us each of the product categories, show me how many transactions there are. So that's the count of the transactions. What is the mean, the standard deviation, the min value is 25% value, median value, sort of being your average or middle value. That's actually the middle value, your 75% value, and what the max values are. So this really gives you some understanding of what the distribution and range of values are in this table of data. Okay, so we're going to conclude the tutorial there. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial.